You control whether you want to be appreciative, if you want to be grateful. You don't control whether you get all these things. You control whether you can be appreciative of having the things you have and the life that you have. And you can have the goal of working towards these things, fate permitting. But just stop trying to get so much things and just look at the things you can be grateful for, and it will change your life. Welcome back to Stoic School. We've made it to day 10. It's a bit of a milestone. If you've been here since day 1, I know you're feeling way more stoic and you're on your path to become the Stoic sage or close to the Stoic sage. We've got a good episode today. Something, a lot of people say, if you're going to take one thing from Stoicism, just one thing, the only thing you need to know, then it is this thing. Hopefully that's true. I think Stoicism has much more to offer, but I kind of agree that this is one of the most important concepts in Stoicism, and it certainly will change your life. If you're stressed, it will make you calmer. If you want to be more confident, it makes you way more confident. It makes goal setting so easy. So, welcome back to Stoic School, day 10 of 100 with myself, William Mulligan, author of the Everyday Stoic, Simple Rules for a Good Life. I just want to explain something today because it's exciting. This is the American copy here, which looks beautiful. Slightly different to the British version, the British Penguin version. This by Hachette, 2 amazing publishers. But today we have something exciting to share, is the Dutch version of the Everyday Stoic, Simple Rules for a Good Life. I got my hands on this copy and I think the publisher has done such an amazing job. I'm working closely with them, so you'll start to hear more about this. Maybe you'll hear me speaking Dutch. Who knows? Today's episode is powered by Huel. Let's jump into the episode. Today's lesson is on the dichotomy of control. And Epictetus opens his handbook saying, Epictetus, he was the Greek-born crippled slave turned philosopher. He inspired Emperor Marcus Aurelius in his Stoic teachings. He said this: some things are within our power. And by the way, this may sound very simple. That's the point. Some of the greatest things in life, the greatest things in life are the simple things, because they're so simple that they're understood very easily and they're simple to incorporate into your life. And it's also simple that it can change your life drastically. It changes the foundation and the core of your life, which, branches out into every aspect of your life. It's incredible. Some things are within our power, others are not. Within our power are our opinion, our motivation, our desire, our aversion, 4 things. In a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power, our health, our wealth, our reputation, our office. And in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. This quote summarizes the dichotomy of control. So Epictetus is saying that there's very little within our power. It's this internal world. That's all we control. And the rest, the external world, is out of our power. We choose our desire. If we desire things outside our power, then eventually we will meet failure and misfortune. Epictetus says, it is foolish for us to want our friends and relatives to live forever, since these things are not up to us. So Epictetus is saying, this external world going on around us, this is where people are putting their energy. This is where people are focusing their desires, the things they want. He says, if you want your friends and family to live forever, then you're a fool, because these things are outside of our power. But then it comes to many different things, as Epictetus says, our health, our wealth, our reputation, our office. And these are very extreme examples. He could have given the example of the rain, the train. These things are outside of power. But he gave these very controversial topics, subjects. And every time I say this quote, people say, our health is in our power, our wealth is in our power, our reputation is in our power. To a certain degree, you control the internals that move towards these things, that have influence over these things. But at the end of the day, when life wants to take your health away from you, it will. No matter how healthy you are, eventually you reach 100 years old and you die, or you get ill, you get sick, you get injured. These things are outside of your power. Your wealth, You can work hard to build a business, but a financial crash may happen. 2008 may happen, and then your wealth has been taken away from you. Reputation. This is a tricky one because you control to be a good person. You control to be a kind person, which should build your reputation. But then again, people get jealous of the kind person. People get jealous of the good person because they hear people speaking well about them. So this person, this colleague, gets jealous about you for being so kind, so great, so awesome, so hardworking. These things you can control. Maybe you can't control being awesome. You can. So these things you control. This person gets jealous and then they create rumors about you. The rumors spread like wildfire and suddenly your reputation is tarnished. So focus on the things you can control. This will lead to a more tranquil life. And the Stoics advocated to working towards tranquility. So we may not control if we are smart or if we are handsome, but what are the most important qualities of humans? So we don't control if we're smart, we don't control if we're handsome, we don't control if we're rich, we don't control if people like us, we don't control much of these things. What are the most important human qualities? Think of them now. The things I admire most in people I admire: kindness, grace, discipline, hardworking, integrity, honesty, courage, discipline. These things, the things we admire most in people. We see the person on the news and say, wow, they're so courageous. We see our mother who's so kind, so hardworking, so generous, so caring. These are the things we admire in people. It's actually very rare to go, oh, I love that this person's wearing Gucci. I really admire that. We admire these human qualities, these core ways of being, these things from within that we have full control over. So although you might not be born rich, you might not be born successful and handsome, you're born, and all of us are born, with some say the God-given right. The Stoics believed it was the gift from Zeus, but we are given this thing that we have full control over our ability to be kind, to be courageous, to be hardworking, to be daring, to be bold, to be a good person. And yes, these things can be hard. It's not like you're told you have control over it and then suddenly you're these things to the full degree. They still take work. But these things that we love so much and so dear, you have full control over. So you can work towards being kind and to being courageous, and people can admire this, you can admire that. You can become a person that you admire. Epictetus said that the most important choice in our life is whether to concern ourselves with things external or things internal. As most people choose to concern themselves with the external because they think that harm and benefit comes from outside themselves. The wise man looks for all benefits and harm to come from within. So I lived like this, and I know many of you are living like this. You believe that life exists in the external world. The benefit and harm, as Epictetus says, come from the external world. You're given bad weather, you're given bad news, you're given good news, you're given good weather, you're given wealth, you're given health. You have health and wealth stripped away from you. When you live like this, you live at the whim of life. You live at the whim of whatever can befall you, whatever comes your way, whatever can be taken from you. And as Cleanthes said, who was the second head of the Stoic School, he said that some are dragged by fate and some are led by fate. When you live in the external world, believing that the external world is the only thing that can offer you good or bad, when you live like this, you're dragged by fate. You're ripped around by fate, whichever way it decides. When you understand that the internal world is where things come from, the good or the harm comes from, then you're just led by fate. You can still be taken to these destinations, which fate will lead you, but the internal world is what's important. I remember my friend, he told me something many years ago and it stuck with me. It was actually on my 18th birthday. We was watching the Netherlands game. I can't remember, Mexico, Neverland. I'm not sure. Anyway, and I was with 3 friends, and one of my friends wanted to do something. He wanted to climb to the top of the thing and get a cool picture. And he was worried about people judging him. He was worried about all these things. And my friend said to him, he said, just do it. Shut up. Stop talking about it. At the end of the day, it's just you and you inside your own head. It's just your internal world. That's all it is. And that's all you got. And that has stuck with me. Because it is. I at the time, I kept thinking of all these externals and all these things, but it's just you in this internal world. And that is all that matters. So, as Epictetus said, it is impossible that happiness and yearning for what is not present should ever be united. He will give up all rewards that the external world offer to gain tranquility, freedom, and calm. So, if you give up the external world, in a sense, you don't have to completely rid yourself of the external world. If you give up believing that only the external world can offer you tranquility, freedom, and calm, if you understand that these things come from within, and you let go of this pursuit of saying, when I'm rich, I'll get that tranquility. When I get married, I'll get that freedom. When I get that new job, I'll get that calm. These things can come to you right now. And when you let go of these externals, you just let them be as they are, then you'll find tranquility, freedom, and calm. So, think of it this way. And this is a powerful exercise you can do that will help you. It'll actually help you gain control over your life and become the person you want to be. And this is the gift of dichotomy of control, I believe. You'll understand this. We control our character and we control our goals. So our character, we control this. We decide if we want to be good, if we want to be bad, if we want to be kind, if we want to be malicious, if we want to be generous, if we want to be greedy. We control this, no one else. And we control our goals. So we can decide where we set the flag and say, and we don't control if we actually get it. That is up to fate. And people say, well, this is defeatist. No, there's this thing called the reserve clause, where you say you'll get to the goal, fate permitting. So you'll try your best, fate permitting. So what this does is you give everything, like a good disciplined person, but if fate decides that you can't have this thing for whatever reason, then you don't fret. You tried your best, you gave it your all, but you didn't get it. And you learn things along the way. So you control your goals, where you set the marker, and you control your character, how you will act whilst you go towards the marker. And this exercise, I call the pillars of control, the 2 pillars of control, or the twin pillars of control. I haven't decided yet on a name. Pillar 1 is you write down the person you want to be. And pillar 2, you write down your goal. So the point of the pillars is, these 2 pillars of control, they are 2 things within your control. You have full control over who you want to be and where you want to go. So these 2 pillars can always be your guide. In times of struggle, you can look towards these pillars. I want to be this person. I want to move here. And you write down where you want to move towards and who you want to be. And don't just write a broad thing, I want to be a good person. Because what does good look like? You write down traits. Maybe you copy off certain traits of people. I always say this, and this is something I do in these lessons, is I try to be like Steve Irwin in how passionate he was for spreading his message. And I try to be like Fred Rogers for his concern for people, his concern for everyone. So when I'm giving these lessons, and this is an example, my goal is to make 100 Stoic lessons for 100 days. And my character that I want to be is to have passion like Steve Irwin and to be caring like Fred Rogers. And that is very niche to just my lessons. But that helps me guide towards my lessons and it helps me be a certain way. And I'm not saying I'm going to be like these people because they're incredible people and it's hard to ever match their character. And I'm not going to say I'm going to get to day 100. I could die before day 100, but I'm trying my best, fate permitting. But then you can bring this sort of thing into your general life of who you want to be. Write it down, very detailed, and what goal you want to be, want to have. And then you always have a goal, a guide through life. And when you eventually get to these pillars, These will be your new foundations that you can stand upon, and you can set 2 new pillars in the distance to keep moving towards. A quick word from our sponsor, Huel. I really like Huel. When I was writing my book, I was using Huel to power me through every single day. When I had my daily greens, when I had my meals, when I had my shakes, it stopped me from going to the shop, buying a load of rubbish, buying a load of unhealthy food, wasting loads of money. And these things do add up. Those quick journeys to the shop every day, the money adds up, the unhealthy foods add up, the wasted time adds up. So if I ever get those cravings, I grab a Huel and it fills my cravings. I feel good, it tastes delicious, it's quick and easy. And if you have any interest in the Huel products, then check the link in the description. Let's get back to the episode. So if we go with the example with the dichotomy of control of the artist controls certain things. To eliminate suffering, they focus on what they can control and offer the rest up to fate. This happens by shifting our values. We value more to be hardworking than we do the actual goal. So the point of this is the artist. You know, there's many artists. People want to be an artist and people want to be a successful artist. They want to make a painting that's worth £1 million. We don't actually control if the painting will ever sell for £1 million. As we found, some of the greatest artists in history, this happened way after their death, so they never got to see their success. And maybe that drove them crazy, which it did. But the point is, with the artist, to help you face failure, face defeat in life, you know, failure can destroy you. So this can apply to any goal, but think of the artist. Imagine you're the artist and you want to sell a painting for £1 million. You want to be a successful artist. You don't control this. And you don't control if you fail. You do, however, control to be hardworking, to be daring, to be bold, to be creative, to be courageous, to be different, to be authentic, to focus on your authentic self. You control these things. So you have the goal of selling a painting for £1 million, which is just a goal that you work towards. You control whether you work towards that goal. You don't control whether you actually get it. And then you have the goal of your character, to be hardworking, to be daring, to be bold, to be courageous, to be creative, to be authentic. This is where you put all your energy into the thing you control and you move towards the goal. So in 10 years' time, you may not sell that painting for £1 million, but you've done all the things it takes to be a great artist and to be a great person. And then, fate permitting, you get to your goal, or maybe you don't. But the thing is, you got what you really needed along the way. I actually like the story of Basquiat. You know, he was a young guy. I think he was 18 at the time. And he was an up-and-comer, and he wanted to make a name for himself. He wanted to make paintings that were worth millions. But that was a long-distance goal. What he focused on was the things he can control. He focused on being authentic. He focused on his discipline to learn. You know, his knowledge, people don't know this, his vast knowledge of culture, history, literature, art, all these things, his knowledge was insane. And if you look at these paintings that look rather random and messy, the components can be broken down. A little circle here, a little icon, it has so much history behind it, so much understanding, so much meaning. And that comes from his brain. He knew so much. Anyway, he put his focus into his discipline, his hard work, his passion. Anyway, the story goes that he got to meet Andy Warhol. He was in a coffee shop. He got to meet Andy Warhol, and someone took a Polaroid picture of him. And Basquiat, he didn't control whether he met Warhol. He didn't control whether he became a successful artist. But what he controlled here was his decision to run off, quickly make a painting of this Polaroid, run back to the coffee shop. The paint was still wet on the canvas, and he handed it to Warhol. And this would be the start of a very successful career for Basquiat. Because Warhol was very impressed. He said, I thought I was fast, but this kid is just something else. He actually swore, but I'm not going to swear to you guys. But the point is, Basquiat didn't control whether he was going to be successful. That is left up to fate, but he did everything he could to get there. He was passionate, hardworking, creative, authentic. It put all these things into his art, and it led to great distance. So one thing, let's say the point of the dichotomy of control, the greatest gift is that most people, 99% of people, give 99% of their efforts, the energy, the focus to the external world. So they're wasting everything, trying to control the weather, trying to control people's opinions of them, trying to control the traffic. It's just a waste, a complete waste. It's all this energy and focus being drained from you. And when you understand how little control you have full control over your world. And that is the greatest gift that you'll ever understand from Stoicism. According to many people, I actually think there's something else, which you'll learn in later lessons of Stoic School. But the point is, you can strip all these externals away from you. And that's what I want you to do. Focus solely on this world that you control. And you'll find you have so much energy, so much freedom, so much focus to really work towards your goals and to your character. So criticism that people have is the Stoics work towards tranquility, but if you have goals outside of your control and you work towards things outside of your control, then you give up this tranquility. Well, I'll tell you the story of Cato. Cato, who was a famous Stoic. Cato could have lived a tranquil life, but he knew it was right to fight the rise of power of Julius Caesar, and this would disturb his tranquility. But this is why it didn't disturb his tranquility. So he already had tranquility in his Stoic studies, in his life, just living the life that Cato lived. But he decided, I know what is right, to fight the rise of power of Julius Caesar, which should give away his tranquility, right? Well, no. His goal was not to succeed in his fight against the rise to power of Julius Caesar. It was to give his best. And he could have failed knowing he gave his best. He could have been happy knowing he gave his best. So he committed to the goal, fate permitting. So you commit your soul to the goal, fate permitting. You understand that you'll give it everything, but ultimately it is left to fate. And it's not defeatist. You still try as hard as you can. But if you don't get it, then fate didn't want you to have it. So you understand that it is out of your control and you never expect it to go your way, but you try your hardest so that you don't feel bad if you fail. And this boils down to something I learned from Tony Robbins, who's a motivational speaker. He said, swap your expectations for appreciations. And it's in similar vein, but I like to finish on this because it's a concept. It's not a Stoic concept, but it's a concept that changed my life. Is we have all these expectations, which are all external, but we can internalize them into gratitudes, appreciations, and that will change your life. So stop trying to want things, get things, attain things, getting all these things, grab. Change all these things for appreciations. You control whether you want to be appreciative, if you want to be grateful. You don't control whether you get all these things. You control whether you can be appreciative of having the things you have and the life that you have. And you can have the goal of working towards these things, fate permitting. But just stop trying to get so much things and just look at the things you can be grateful for, and it will change your life. That is it for day 10 Stoic School. We made it to day 10. And everyone that's sticking along, I'm seeing all your comments every single day. It's amazing to see. And I hope you're learning a lot about Stoicism. And I hope you're starting to be able to incorporate it into your life. I'm really breaking up these episodes. So some are practical ones where you can learn things that are a bit like of my own lesson, my own guidance that helped me. Things that I wrote in my book, actually, lessons that really helped me. But then some are about the education of Stoicism, so you can get a real broad understanding. So from lesson to lesson, some are really helpful and good guides. Some are a bit more educational. But together, we're learning how to be a Stoic. So that is it for day 10 of 100 Stoic School with me, William Mulligan. Thank you for joining me. If you want to support what I'm doing, then leave a comment to say you're joining along Stoic School. Subscribe. If you're on streaming platform, leave a rating. Please leave a rating. It really helps. If you made it to day 10 and you haven't left a rating, now's your chance. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And to my Dutch listeners, if you're out there, and I see a lot of you on Instagram, but it's hard to understand if anyone's on YouTube that's Dutch. My book is now available. I'll leave a link in the description in the Dutch language. The team, they've done an amazing job with the formatting, with the design. It looks beautiful. And the translation, really great work. I'm really, really happy to be working with them. So the link will be in the description. And if you really, 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 really want to help, you really want to support what I'm doing, then invite a friend to Stoic School. This helps them out more than anything. It helps me because I get a new person, a new fellow Stoic involved in Stoicism, but it helps them out so much because Stoicism, like I say, has been described as the guide to the good life. Stoicism has changed my life. It's fixed my anxiety. It's made me more confident, more balanced, more happy. And I have messages of people that say Stoicism has saved their life. So I'm not saying it saved my life. It changed my life drastically. I've had people saying it saved their life. You know, there was wanting to end their life, there was taking drugs, this kind of thing. It has saved their life. So you could give it to a friend, a child, a grandchild, a grandparent, a great-grandparent, a colleague. You could give it to them and it may help them. And I hope it does. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.